everybody. You are watching the tutorial from the May Silhouette Life Inspiration Box for the Daddy's Father's, I can't speak today, Daddy Father's Day photo frame. So the items that you'll need from the May Silhouette Life Inspiration Box are the white cardstock, and then you'll need your 8x10 photo frame. If you're wondering what the plexiglass is for, that is simply for if your glass broke. So this is just a replacement. You can peel off the blue side just so it doesn't scratch. And that should slide right into the 8x10 frame. So she included that already in case it's broken, so you don't have to worry about waiting for a replacement. Mine is not broken, so I'm just going to save this for future times where a frame may break. But that's what it's included for if you had any questions. So those are the only two items you're going to need, the cardstock and then your frame. So let's switch over to our Silhouette Studio and we'll design the file. Okay, I have my tutorial in my Silhouette Studio. We're going to scroll down to the bottom to get the file. I did SVG, I already downloaded it, and you just pull it over. So then what you want to do next, you can scroll back up and follow. She's going to show you how to make your own setting if you want. But what I'm going to do is she talks about, making sure this is centered. So go to your line menu and click center, and it will center it on your 8.5 by 11. So make sure your page shows letter, Cameo 12 by 12, landscape is the best way to do this for now. So then what you're going to do is you're going to want to thicken up your lines so that you can see them. So go right here to the line style, thickness 4.5, and then you can see your lines better there. So that is good. Then you're going to drag in your photos. So right here, I'm going to go ahead and zoom out so you can see where I'm putting my photos. So I've got 3 photos I want to use. And what I'm going to do now is we got to mess with the photos and how we put them in here. So I'm going to maximize this so we have room to play with it. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop my photos. I know there's easier ways to do this. Don't judge me. But I just like to make an X, or a box and then go to the object, modify, crop, and then I kept the pieces of the photos that I want. So this one I'm going to do a similar thing. And I'm just going to crop it right here. Object, modify. Oh, what you have to do is you have to make sure you're selecting on both of them. So I'm going to delete that box, and I'm actually going to move this box down a little bit so you can see more of that little baby car. So then you group both of them, object, modify, crop. Then I got that photo the way I want it, and now this one, I just want the picture of our little guy right there. So object, modify, crop. Okay, so now I have these photos I want to play with, and what you're going to do is you're going to put them onto your style. So I'm going to need, like, this one needs to be a little bigger, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Control, right click, send to back. So then I can see exactly where this is going to go. And I'm just going to undo that decision. And I'm going to try to make it smaller like this so the proportions stay better with what I want. And then we're just going to go ahead and keep it like that. So that's how I want it there. So it's covering all of the D. So then I have this next photo that I want like this. And I can already tell it is way too big to fit into those letters. So I'm going to make that smaller, even a little bit more. And then I'm going to click right here. And I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do send to back. Oh, it's not doing it. Send to back. And then I'm going to click bring forward. So then it will cover this top one, but it'll still be in the back of everything else. So I don't want it to be on the D, but I want it to be on the A. So I want it on these 3 letters, basically, is what I want. So right now that looks like about the best that I'm going to get it. So then my last photo here, I want it right there. So I know it's too big. That looks like better with what I want. So then I'm going to go ahead and click Control, send backward. That didn't work. Send to back. Same thing, bring forward. Come on. Bring to front of layer. Nope. All right, so it was working for me before. Let's see if we can get it again. So send to back, and then bring forward. Okay, it hates me. So what the heck? Do you see how that just turned into a different photo? There we go. So let's see. We're going to keep this one, Control, bring to front of layer. I must be changing things with this photo because it does not like me. So what we're going to do, bring forward. There we go. Okay, so for some reason it was trying to bring everything else forward, I think. So then what I want to do is size my photo the right way so I can get it just in this Y and just what I want it. So there's all my pictures the way that I want them. So I had practiced before too. So this looks pretty good. I actually like the one I just did a little bit better. Okay, so now once you have that, go back to your tutorial. So what we're going to do is group the photos together after you have them in the correct place. Don't move them after this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move off this. Oh, no, I don't want to do that either. Okay, how did she... Okay. Okay. So then what we're going to do... I don't actually know how she managed... Oh, she kept hers bigger. So you see how her pictures, she could group them above it? So what I want to do... I'm trying to think of the best way to group them. Here we go. Control. I am on a Mac, and so I can't just like right click. So I'm going to go Object. No, we want View. We want Send to Back. There we go. Now our photos are in the front. So I want somehow to get all of these three. Wait. You guys, I think I just messed it up. That is not the photo I had. No! Okay, you guys, we are learning and living together. I don't know why that picked that photo. So we are going to take this one. I don't know why I did that. So then what we need to do, let's read through this tutorial. So we're going to print the photos just how we had them. And then we're going to do that. Okay, so we are okay to move this because we had centered it. So make sure that if you had centered it, you keep it there. So then we're going to group the photos. And she says, once you group them together and had them in the correct place, this way you don't have to move without moving one. Now print straight from Silhouette Studio to your printer. So what you're going to do is you're just going to go File, Print, and it'll bring up your print box. So print that step. Then what you're going to do is you're going to line up your printed sheet with the cutting mat and insert into your Silhouette Studio. You can go ahead and move the photos out of the way so you can see the design. Now click over to the Send panel, click on all the text, and then set to No Cut. You only want to cut the 8x10 square. So what we're going to do is I'm going to Control C this. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm kind of sad. That's okay. So then we're going to bring this right back here. But remember, what you have to do is you have to center it, because then it'll be in the same space you had before. So then you're going to go to Send, and you are going to click, we're going to go back to Design. Oh, zoom out a little bit. So we're going to ungroup this. Oh my gosh. I gotta stop doing that stuff. Ungroup. Okay, then just this. When we click Send, we just want that to cut. We don't want any of the text. You see how the text is set to No Cut? That's good. So you're going to cut that on cardstock plain. So cardstock plain. Then it'll trim down the letter size cardstock to fit in your frame. After cutting, remove from the cutting mat and set off to the side. Now you want to click back over to the Design tab. You want to print the design that is now displayed without the photos. So you're going to print this. So you're going to go back here and you're going to click. You can probably, let's see. I'm trying to figure out how you did it. So how she did it. So we cut out the 8x10. Then, okay, so then we're going to go ahead and print the 8.5 by 11. Then you're going to cut out the letters. Then you can flip those two and you're good to go. So we are going to go ahead and print everything we need, and then I will show you how to put it all together and do our cameo pieces, and we'll go from there. All right, so now I've printed what we need. I apologize. I blame pregnancy brain for how confusing that last part of the video was. I could not understand what we were supposed to do, but it's okay. I figured it out. So a couple things. You printed out this sheet so that the basic design, make sure it was centered again, and then you printed out your photos. One thing, again, pregnancy brain, is make sure that when you're printing out this part, you change your line thickness back. So how I did that is I just reopened this file and centered it on the page so I knew exactly where it was, and just didn't change the line thickness like we did with the photos when we were getting ready so we could see them. So make sure you do that, because otherwise you'll be able to see the red. It won't cut it all out. So print it like this. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your photos and you're going to line them up on your cut mat exactly like how we lined them up in the Silhouette Studio. So for me, that would mean my cut mat would look like this. So then what you're going to do now is you're going to load this into your machine. Click Load Cut Mat. And this is the setting in your design studio where you want it to cut just the square. Just the square, so that way you just have the photos and you don't have any of the extra stuff in here. So when you go to send, you're going to make sure everything else is clicked as to not cut except for the box around it. So what that means is you're probably going to have to ungroup your file. And I had tried to show this, so just make sure that you do it how I showed you in the video. So we want everything to be no cut except that outside box. So we're going to click cut, and it's just going to cut that box. So I got to plug in my Cameo. Okay. So then we're going to click send once it's done getting ready to figure it out. Okay. Oh, we're going to pause it. I made a mistake, you guys. Once again, pregnancy brain. I clicked pause. My Cameo doesn't really pick up very quick that I click pause on things, because I forgot to change the settings. So my blade, it needs to be on the 3, 4, and 20 is what it needs to be. So we're going to click cancel job because I need it to unload for me. But yeah, my machine really hates to pause. I don't know if yours does, but really struggling with the pregnancy brain part of things today. That's okay. We're halfway there, so just a couple more months. Bear with me. Okay, so blade 3 is now where it needs to be. 4 and 20. So everything else is ready. Luckily, I had like undone it, so I would make sure to change my blade, and then I didn't. So now we're going to cut that square. Now it will actually cut. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like. And we're just waiting. Because then next what we're going to do is we're going to cut out the daddy part in this. Which I'll show you as well. Okay. So now we're going to click unload. And you can see we have the section. Be careful when you pull off in case your card starting to cut right. Now we have just our photo section. So I'm going to take this piece off the back. I'm going to put this over to the side, because then what we need to do, and she talks about it, is we need to cut everything. So we need to cut not these, but the daddy and the box. So again, line it up on your cut mat exactly how we had done it. Okay. Perfect. I'm going to load that in. And then we're going to make sure it's set to cut everything. Just the daddy and the box outside. So we're going to click send for that. And I always cross my fingers when I do print and cut that it works, because this one is not. So my design is off. So that really sucks, but that's what this is to show you for. So I'm gonna let it finish cutting and then I'll show you what we did wrong. All right, so here's what happened. Do you see how it cut it, but it didn't cut right on those lines that it was supposed to cut at? So my blade, or however it was on my mat, wasn't lined up exactly how it was in here. Normally print and cut you have registration marks, so it does it exactly, and we didn't do that here. And so mine did not work. But you can see what it's supposed to look like is it still would have lined up just fine with my photos, so that still looked great. So what I did is I printed it out again, but I printed it without those letters and without that box. That way when we cut it, it doesn't have to be exact because you won't be able to see any line behind it. So how I did that is honestly I just deleted that and the box, and then I just Control-Z'd and went back a couple steps, and then I have it ready to cut. So we're going to try this. So I'm going to load this into my cut mat and do the outside box and the daddy and see if that works, and then I'll show you at that point. Okay, so we just cut it. Now we'll see if it works. So I'm going to take the cardstock off the mat, and it cut out the daddy great, so that's good. So then what you're going to do is I'm going to get rid of this one, and you're going to line up the photos behind it. So you're going to see, and I'm just fixing this Y. Okay. So you're going to line it up and see if it lined up how you want it, which that did perfectly, just how I wanted it. So what you're going to do then is you're going to put it into your frame. This is a front-loading frame, so this is what it should look like after you take the glass out. So I am not gluing these together because I want to switch them out as soon as we have our baby boy. And so I am just setting them in together into this frame. And it's a little bit tight, so I'm gonna have to slide and figure out how I want to do that. So if it's tight, it is for me, so we're gonna use a paper trimmer. Sorry, I had to get mine, but I need to make sure that both of these cut at the same place or at a spot it's not gonna bother it. So it's big on just the top and one of the sides, so I'm gonna trim off just a little on one of the bottoms. And I really am just doing just a little to see if that fits in okay. So that'll fit in okay that way. So now I just need to do a little bit, and I'm just checking. I do not have very much room on either side, so I got to be very little about how I cut this. So we're going to do like very tiny and see if this bottom one fits in now, which it just barely does. So then we're going to do the same thing with this frame, with this one. So I'm going to cut off just a little bit at the bottom because we still want it to line up right, so I don't want to cut off too much. We're going to see if that'll fit. So that'll fit there. Now we just need to cut off a little bit on the side. So we're going to cut off a little bit over here. And I really do mean just a little. Whoop. That was too much. Okay. Ah! I just bent it. That's okay. Alright, so then we're going to line that up, and that fits, and it's going to work out great. So then, once you have that in there, you have to, so this is what it looks like, you have to replace the glass. So she included plexiglass in case yours had broken. So how you do this is you want to just press on each side gently until it pops into place. So then, you'll have each one pressed in, and there is your frame with your photos. And then if you do it the way I did it and don't glue it, you can replace the back photos and still have this front one. You can do different colors, but that is the Father's Day frame from the May Silhouette Life Inspiration Box. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and thank you for holding up with my pregnancy brain.